Economics and Trade in Rome, 509 BCE to 312 AD, by Patriquin, Kortney, Hansen, and Geoffrey Thatcher. Begin with trade and money. Between the years 14 to 180 CE in the early empire was very prosperous time. Merchants traveled from all over the empire to trade in Patriquin and Ostia. Imports into Rome included grain and luxury items. Manufacturing was booming. This included not only older industries, such as pottery and bronze working, but also new industries, such as brickmaking. Trade and smaller industries declined quickly in the 3rd century CE. The making of coinage cheapened, coins were made of diluted silver instead of pure silver, and people started to trade goods instead of using money. Produce became a medium of pay, even for soldiers. In 301 CE, Diocletian issued an edict that set the maximum of prices and wages, but he could not enforce it. Constantine, a later emperor, decided to bring back gold coins into usage and made the sodius and new silver coinage. Taxes were increased for the poor, while the rich found ways around them via loopholes or just outright bribing the tax collectors. Another important aspect of the Roman economy was the roads that the Romans built. Trading with neighboring communities was crucial to the economy. Their roadways aided tremendously in trade. They were extremely efficient and durable and made in straight shots to other cities, which made them speedy and easy to navigate. Stone pillars gave distances to the nearest towns, and the roads helped Romans map their entire empire. In the early empire, the Silk Road became a very important road for trade. It allowed goods, such as silk, which the wealthy Romans loved, to be transported from the Far East to Rome. Another important aspect of the economy was taxes. The empire's revenue greatly increased in 212 Common Era, when the Emperor Caracalla decreed that every free person in the empire could become a Roman citizen, thus increasing the tax base. In the late Roman Empire, most of the tax money went to military purposes, but it was not enough. The population of the Roman Empire stopped growing, so the tax base could not grow either. After long military excursions, land became devalued. Farmers started to sell their land. This caused large estates to form. In 133 before Common Era, Gracchus created legislation that authorized the Roman government to seize land owned by the wealthy landowners and redistribute it to Romans who did not own land. Through the early empire, agriculture remained the most important aspect of Roman prosperity. Latifundia, large estates, dominated the agri-industry, but there was still plentiful small farms through this time. Coloni, free tenant farms, usually worked the latifundia and paid rent. During the late Roman Empire, because of the bad economy, land prices were down, so large landowners took advantage and made their states even bigger. Slaves were an important part of the Roman economy. Romans started to rely on slavery more between 300 and 200 before Common Era. Before this time, Roman farmers usually only had a few slaves that would be considered part of the family, and only wealthier Romans would have a large amount of slaves. After the conquest of the Mediterranean, though, slaves were usually captives for war. The sale of some slaves increased the public treasury, and work for the slaves included farming, building roads, building aqueducts, and building public facilities. In the early empire, slaves increased. Slaves did all kinds of work, from private homes to high-end government positions. As the number of slaves increased, unemployment among the free people also increased. Now to see how politics affected the economy. Funded politics with their own money, thus controlling politics. There were patricians, the aristocratic ruling class, and plebeians, less wealthy, free citizens, who did not have as many rights as the patricians. In the 2nd century BCE, nobles emerged, which were wealthy families that came from either the patrician or plebeian classes. The nobles began to control the important political offices of Rome. Then emerged the equestrians, who were the other social class we see created in this century. They rose from the cavalry ranks in the Roman army. The economic focus then shifts to maintain the wealth for the already wealthy. In 79 BCE, Sulla allowed men of the equestrian order to become part of the Senate. In the earlier empire, there was a gap between the poor and wealthy. People of cities relied on the agricultural surpluses of the country. In a lean year, however, the wealthier people of the cities would take what they wanted and leave scraps for the poor and the farmers. Then, Trajan started a welfare program for poor children and reduced taxes. In the late Roman Empire, the city councilors, called curials, found taxes to be insufficient and had to pay for the expenses with their own money. As a result, people no longer wanted to become curials. Diocletian and Constantine both issued edicts, basically making the position of curial hereditary so that people could not get out of it. Here's our page, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you very much.